Title: I had to sit in the back seat, on my husband's son's lap. A true family story, safe version. When I look back on that day, I can't help but shake my head at how a small, awkward moment turned into a life-changing lesson about trust, patience, and the importance of communication. My name is Rebecca, and I live in Ohio with my husband, Daniel, and his teenage son, Michael. Life as a blended family isn't always easy, but we've tried our best to make it work. That Saturday started out simple. Daniel wanted us all to attend his mother's birthday gathering at her house, which was nearly 2 hours away. The plan was to drive together in his car, enjoy the family party, and return home by nightfall. But fate decided to throw in some twists that would test the strength of our relationships. As we packed up for the trip, I noticed something troubling. Daniel's car, though reliable, only had limited space in the back seat. There was one full seat and then a small side seat that was barely big enough for a child. Since Michael had already claimed the window seat, Daniel suggested we could all squeeze in somehow. "It's only for a short ride," he said with a grin, clearly not realizing the discomfort it would cause. Michael, being a 17-year-old with a teasing sense of humor, chuckled. "Rebecca, you can just sit on my lap." "Problem solved," he joked. I gave him a sharp look, but Daniel laughed and brushed it off as if it were nothing serious. The idea made me uncomfortable, not because anything inappropriate was intended, but because the situation itself was awkward. Still, with time running out and no other car available, we had no choice. So, there I was, sitting awkwardly on Michael's lap as Daniel drove us toward his mother's house. At first, the car was filled with laughter as Daniel tried to lighten the mood, making jokes about how crowded we looked. Michael, to his credit, tried to sit still and respectful, but I could tell he was embarrassed too. The ride was bumpy, and I shifted uncomfortably every few minutes, trying to avoid putting too much weight on Michael. The situation gave me time to reflect on how fragile family dynamics can be. A simple car seating problem had turned into an emotional test, one that could easily spark arguments if we weren't careful. Halfway through the drive, Daniel made a wrong turn. The GPS lost signal in the countryside, and what was supposed to be a 2-hour ride started to stretch longer. Tension grew inside the car. My patience was wearing thin, and Michael, though quiet, looked like he wanted to disappear into the seat. Finally, I couldn't hold back. "Daniel, this isn't funny anymore," I said sharply. "You should have thought this through. We can't keep riding like this." Michael immediately spoke up in my defense. "Dad, she's right. This isn't fair. We should have borrowed Uncle Henry's car or figured out something else." Daniel stayed silent for a while, his jaw tightening as he drove. But then he sighed deeply and admitted, "You're both right. I didn't think it through. I just wanted us to go as a family without overcomplicating things." That admission softened the atmosphere. We ended up pulling into a small diner on the roadside to stretch our legs. Sitting across from each other at the booth, the three of us talked honestly about how little things, like car arrangements, can become big emotional triggers in blended families. Michael shared that he sometimes felt caught in the middle, trying to respect both me and his dad while also being a teenager with his own needs. Hearing his honesty touched me deeply. I realized that this wasn't just about one car ride, it was about learning to compromise, communicate, and see each other's perspectives. Eventually, we got back in the car. This time, Daniel offered to let me drive while he squeezed into the back seat beside Michael. "Fair is fair," he said, with a wink. The rest of the ride went much smoother, and we finally arrived at his mother's birthday party late, but together. That night, as we drove back home, with Daniel and Michael switching spots to make the seating less awkward, I thought about the lessons learned. Family isn't about perfect situations, it's about how you handle the imperfect ones. That one strange, uncomfortable ride taught us the value of patience, honesty, and teamwork. And even though it started with me sitting on my husband's son's lap, it ended with us sitting closer as a family, not physically, but emotionally.